We are live, sir.
Hari Om, Namaste, Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Sri Virajeshwara Saraswati on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on the Viveka Chudamani will commence along with the Mangalacharana Shloka. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarvavedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Hari Om. Last time the verse or the shloka number 147 up to that was covered in the Viveka Chudamani. So from today, shloka number 148, the discourse will commence. As repeatedly said earlier, this Vyakhyana is mainly based on the commentary Bhashya given by Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sri Sringeri Sharada Peetham. While continuing Atma Nirupana, Atma Vichara, Atma Tattva, now Sadguru, that is Acharya, is telling the qualified disciple, his Shishya, he starts with this next set of shlokas. Shruti pramanaikamateh swadharmanishta tayevatma vishuddhi sat asyaha vishuddha buddhe paramatma vedanam tenaiva samsara samolanashanaha. Here, there was a small lapse on my part. Actually, when I checked up last week, the shloka number up to 144 it was covered, not 147. So I'll come back with due apologies. Now today, shloka number, verse number 145 onwards, the discourse will commence. Bijam samsruti bhumiyasya tamo dehatmadhirankurah raga pallava mambu karmatu vapuskandho sabashakhikah agranindriya sammatischa vishayah pushpani dukkham phalam nana karma samudbhavam bhavidam bhoktatra jivakhagah. In this shloka, Acharya Sri Shankara Bhagavad is comparing this entire samsara, this material life of birth and death, where we are born, we are seeing, we are experiencing this world in this life, and so also others, and one day we will die, but the life continues. So this samsara, this world, this jagat, Acharya compares itself to that eternal Ashwatha tree, that eternal people tree, and he says, taking that tree, that invisible tree as a simile, as an example, he is explaining different parts of the tree of samsara. When we look at the tree, you have different parts, organs of the tree. Each one he takes example and explains. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾದ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ಮರಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ವೃಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು, ಆ ವೃಕ್ಷದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಧ್ಯದ ಕಾಂಡ, ಎಲೆಗಳು, ಅದರ ಕೊಂಬೆಗಳು, ಅದರ ಹೂಗಳು, ಫಲಗಳು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನು ವರ್ಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಬೀಜಂ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಭೂಮಿಯಸ್ಯತು ತಮೋ ದೇಹಾತ್ಮಧೀರಂಕುರೋ ರಾಗ ಪಲ್ಲವ ಮಂಬು ಕರ್ಮತು ವಪು ಸ್ಕಂಧೋತ್ಸವ ಶಾಖಿಕಾ ಅಗ್ರಾಣೀಂದ್ರಿಯ ಸಂಹತಿಶ್ಚ ವಿಷಯಾ ಪುಷ್ಪಾಣಿ ದುಃಖಂ ಫಲಂ ನಾನಾ ಕರ್ಮ ಸಮುದ್ಭವಂ ಭವವಿದಂ ಭೋಕ್ತಾತ್ರ ಜೀವಖಗಃ. ಬೀಜಂ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಭೂಮಿಜಸ್ಯ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಭೂಮಿಜಸ್ಯ ಬೀಜಂ ತು tamah. Here Acharya is very, very clear cut emphasizing that this tamas, tamoguna, this aspect of the Maya is the main seed. This tamoguna is nothing but the seed of ajnana or ignorance, avidya. So this seed called avidya is the basic seed of the tree of the samsara. So the samsara, the tree, sprouts from the seed called ajnana. That is nothing but tamoguna pradhana ajnana. Then dehatmadhi ankuraha, the sprouting from the seed, the initial germination, the sprouting, is dehatma buddhi. So the germinating part of the seed is nothing but dehatma buddhi. The moment I am born, that feeling is there, inborn from hundreds of previous births, that I am this body. So dehatma buddhi is sharira, itself is myself. See, this feeling is the protruding, germinating part of the tree. Raga pallavaha ambu karmaha. Raga pallavaha. What is it, raga pallavaha? Raga means desires, expectations, our wants, kama. So they are the pallavaha, small initial branches coming out. Ambu karma, our own actions, our karmas are the water, the necessary water for the growth of the tree. Vapuskandaha, the entire tree trunk, the major central stem is the body itself, is the tree trunk. The human body is a tree trunk. Asavashakika. And the pancha pranas traversing in the body, they are the different branches of this tree of samsara. Indriya sammatischa agrani. So the tips of the branches are nothing but our sense organs, the basic sense organs, the organs of smell, touch, organs of sight, and organs of hearing. So these sense organs are the tips of the branches. Agrani. Vishayaha pushpani. The actual sense objects, what we perceive in life, what we observe, what we experience, what we see, what we hear in our life, all various types of sense organs, sense perceptions, not organs. Sense objects or perceptions are Vishayaha pushpani. They're all the flowers of the tree itself. Dukkham phalam. And which are the fruits here in this tree of samsara? The main suffering. the grievances, the crisis, the mental agony, mental tension, what all we endured till our death, all sorts of mental sufferings, physical sufferings in the form of disease, the growth of the body, and then further the body at the old age starts, depleting, losing its strength and vitality. All these lead to mental and physical suffering. So these mental and physical sufferings are the fruits of the tree called samsara. And then he says, Nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidam bhokta atra jiva khagaha. Atra jiva khagaha. So the bird, khaga means bird, the bird called jiva or jivatma, Nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidam bhokta. Now this jiva, jivatma, this individual self, limited to each individual body. So this jiva is actually enjoying, enjoying means experiencing all the effects of the actions done by jiva in the body itself. Nana karma samudbhavam bhavuvidam bhokta atra jiva kagaha. It is enjoying, it is experiencing all that effects of its own karmas. So Acharya is taking a simple, beautiful example of a tree and comparing the tree to the samsara, which is eternal. Please remember, similarly, the same essence, the core point, what is there in Bhagavad Gita given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, that point Acharya is bringing here in Viveka Chudamani. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna Paramatma tells Arjuna, comparing this samsara, this continuing life span, including birth and death and birth and death and birth and death, this whole lifespan, this samsara, Krishna Paramatma in Bhagavad Gita compares this to Ashwatha tree. And he says, see, this tree of Ashwatha is in the reverse direction. Invisible tree. Its roots are high up in the heaven. And the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the flowers, the fruits are facing downwards. So the tree is upside down. The roots are deep, invisible, anadi, beginningless. They are up. Branches, leaves, and flowers and fruits are downwards. So that is how the tree of samsara, called Ashwatha tree, which is the essence of the life itself, he explains there in Bhagavad Gita. Urdhvamulam adashakam ashwattham prahuravyayam chandamsa yasya parnani yastam veda sa vedavit yahatam vedaha yastam vedaha vedavit. The person, the wise man, the knower of the truth is the one who understands this Ashwatha tree called the tree of life, which is invisible to others. That's what Krishna Paramatma says in Bhagavad Gita. Same point Acharya is telling here. Same point he is telling here. Comparing our life, samsara, to a tree. Then he continues here. Remember, he is giving the answer to the question how this bondage has occurred. The bondage, how it has occurred, and we are bound to samsara. That was one of the main questions of the Shishya to the Guru earlier. How the bondage has come into existence, how we are. He says, due to ajnana, which is the basic primordial seed. From this seed, the tree of life has come out. So the answer here is, the basic ignorance, the basic ajnana, the basic avidya called Mula Vidya, right from number of previous births that is there in our psyche, deeply embedded in the chitta as a form of samskara. It is already there from one birth to one birth, this ajnana. What is ajnana here? Remembering the unreal as a real, considering unreal as a real itself, considering this body is myself, forgetting my own reality. So, always infusing the feeling that I am the body. Ultimately, please remember, the core of the Advaita, the Vedanta, is this false identification. All the Upanishads ultimately come to the same point, the false identification, the false narrative we have in our life, that I am the body. I means body. Repeatedly, whether it is in the commentary of Brahma Sutra, whether it is in the commentary of basic 10 Maha Upanishads, or whether it is in the commentary of Bhagavad Gita, Acharya Bhagavad-pada repeatedly hammers the same point. Not only that, including in this magnum opus book called Viveka Chudamani, and other smaller granthas, prakarana granthas, written by Acharya Shankara Bhagavad-pada, like Atma Bodha, Vakya Vritti, Lagu Vakya Vritti, Aparokshanubhuti, Upadesha Sahasri. These are the other Prakarana Granthas, the other beautiful, smaller Prakarana books, treatises written by Sakshat Shivaswarupa Acharya Shankara Bhagavad-pada. In all these Granthas, including this Viveka Choda, in all his bhashyas, the same point ultimately he hammers, which is already there in the Upanishads. He is not giving out any special points. What he is portraying here is what is already there in the Upanishads, in the coded language. Since all are not eligible to go through Upanishads, the teaching, it has to be done by explicitly a Atmajnana Sampanna or a Brahmajnana Sampanna Sadguru, who is a Shrotriya, who has heard it from his Guru, who has been taught by his Guru. So in the entire Guru Parampara, this jnana of Upanishad comes from Guru to the Shishya. So most of us may not be eligible to understand by just reading the Upanishads. That is why Acharya, in these smaller treatises, these proses come poetic style treatises, in these Prakarana Granthas as they are called, same point he is explaining for the sake of the entire mankind, for the whole mankind. What is there in Upanishad, the secrets are being revealed here. Next, he continues. Ajnana molo ayam anatma bandho naisargiko anadir ananta iritaha janmapyaya vyadhi jaradi dukkha pravahapatam janayatyamushya. Ajnana molo ayam anatma bandho naisargiko anadir ananta irita janmapyaya vyadhi jaradi dukkha pravahapatam janayatyamushya. Ajnana molaha ayam anatma bandha naisargikaha anadihi anantaha. Key words in this shloka. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ, ಈ ಬಂಧನ, ಅಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬಂಧನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಈ ಆತ್ಮಬಂಧ, ಅನಾತ್ಮವನ್ನೇ ಆತ್ಮ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ನೈಸರ್ಗಿಕವಾಗಿದೆ, ಅನಾದಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಅನಂತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅನಾದಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ. So Acharya is making it very clear again. What is that he is making clear? ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಮೂಲ ಅಯಂ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಬಂಧ ನೈಸರ್ಗಿಕ ಅನಾದಿ ಅನಂತಃ. ಅಯಂ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಬಂಧ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಮೂಲ. So this anatma bandha means falsely identifying myself as the body. I am this body. I am so and so. I am the body. I am this sharira. I am this. I am this. So this anatma bandha is called real bondage. This, for this, which is this basic substratum or the starting point, the seed, ajnana moola, anatma bandha. And this ajnana moola, this avidya, moola vidya, primordial ignorance. Ignorance means identifying myself as a body. Who really I am? Though the words appear very easy, it is very difficult to digest, these metaphorical euphorisms given by Acharya or while trying to explain Upanishads. It's easy. Ajnana is a cause for the bondage. 2 lines. Ignorance is a cause of bondage. But it is not that easy at all. We may require hundreds of births to understand this point by continuous sadhana. See, in one birth, the entire sadhana may not be fulfilled. It is like, as our Gurudev used to say all the time, Sopana Krama. See, for 1 year, a student studies in the first standard, takes up the exam. If he passes out, he goes to second standard, second grade. Then for 1 year, he will study, and if he passes, he will go to third grade. Similarly to the fourth grade. Similarly to fifth grade. See, continuous reading, understanding, taking exam and passing, and that is how you go to the next grade, even in education. Like that. In one birth itself, ajnana may not be removed. But that happens by God's grace ultimately. By Guru's Upadesha ultimately. And by sincere personal sadhana ultimately. All go together. Our sadhana should be sincere. Our spiritual goal should be very
It went on mute.
I don't know. It stopped all of a sudden. Okay. Okay. So our sadhana should be sincere. Guru's guidance should be there. And ultimately, Guru or God's grace, anugraha should fall. That may happen in one particular birth, all the 3 combined together. And in that birth, by ultimately grace of God, realization may happen. Then you come out of the bondage. So it is not that easy. Not that easy. All that is important here is no comparison. We have to continue in this journey of spiritual pilgrimage. No matter come what may. No comparison. Now I have rediscovered my goal. My basic goal is to know my own reality. My basic goal is to remove all the ignorant concepts I had about myself, all these during births. By intellectually, Guru has taught me that I am not the body. I am the pure Atma Swarupa, ever shining. But I have to experience that. Direct experience. I must know by first hand. For that, I must do the sadhana sincerely as a guru has directed. It may take number of births. It's okay. So no comparison, no question of hurry, no question of restlessness. So once you surrender yourself to the feet of the Guru or God completely, that is total surrender. Then Guru will lead the way, the God will lead the way, God will show the way. See, this all Mahatmans have mentioned all these points very clearly repeated. So Acharya says this Anatma Bandha is Naisargika plus Anadi plus Ananta. Ananta. It stretches for infinite number of births. This bondage, Anatma Bandha, bondage to the samsara. This bondage, thinking unreal as real, is Anadi and Ananta. For infinite, for hundreds and crores of births it is there. It may also stretch later for hundreds and crores of future births also. It goes on. It is natural. It is a causeless cause. This Ajnana Mula is a causeless cause. Nobody can define when it started. It is beginningless, timeless. Naisargika. It is natural. Only at the time of realization, when this bond of Ajnana is cut, that is, when the bond of avidya or the maya is cut by the grace of the Guru or the God, then only everything becomes clear. Everything becomes clear. The clarity sprouts in a flash. When the reality appears, when it reveals itself, our own Atma self reveals itself by its own grace, everything becomes very clear, cut, precise. Till then, the avidya is there, ajnana is there, maya, effects of maya is there. The world is real. Till that point, world appears to be real. This is what Acharya in his Brahma Sutra Bhashyas elsewhere, he calls this as Vyavaharika Satya. Vyavaharika Satta, he says. Till the realization, world appears to be real. Yes. So we have to do all the karmas for Chitta Shuddhi, for the purity of the mind, to increase Sattva Guna, to decrease Rajoguna and Tamoguna. We have to follow all the karmas enjoined as per the scriptures and Vedas, Acharya says. Now I'm digressing too much from the basic point. So this is what he calls. So because of the Ajnana Mula, which is Anati and Ananta and Naisargika, natural, Acharya says, Janmapyaya Vyadhi Jaradi Dukkha Prabahapatam Janayati Amushya. So because of this Ajnana bondage, what happens? Janma Apyaya Vyadhi Jaradi Dukkha Prabahapatam Janayati Amushya. So it propels the man, Amushya Janayati. It propels the man into this ocean of Janma, Apyaya, Vyadhi, Jara, Adi, Dukkha, Pravahapatam. So this Ajnana leads to the bondage, and this bondage makes the man, makes the individual to fall into the samsara, into the river of samsara, into this ocean of samsara. And then experience all the facets of life. That is birth, growth, after growth, youth period, then old age sets in, all sorts of body problems, all sorts of diseases, and all other problems, the crisis. Finally, sufferings will be there throughout the life and it leads to death. So from birth to death, always series of sufferings are there. Dukkha pravahapatam janayati. That's what happens. So for this, ajnana is the root cause. Avidya is the root cause. Ignorance. What is that ignorance? I have forgotten my own reality. I am bound by my own mind. My own mind plays the trick. I am actually the servant of my own mind. I do everything as my mind says. I don't control the mind. Even this point is not known. See, our Gurudev used to say, majority people, they don't even know that they are bound. So there is no question of taking up any spiritual course or a path. Since they don't know that they are bound to samsara, they might have heard, our Gurudev used to say, they might see in their lifetime their own people, their own kids and kins, their own parents, their own brothers, their own elders, sometimes younger ones, they die in front of them. For 1 or 2 days, they will have this smashana vairagya, a sort of melancholy mood, mind questions about life and death. After a week, after 1 month, everything becomes normal. They are back to samsara, their own life, knowingly well that everyone will die. Knowingly well that I am also going to die, they are least bothered. Life is full of fun and game and adventure and making more and more money, fulfilling our wants and desires. That is all our Gurudev used to say. See, that is the trick, that is the bondage. Next shloka Acharya says, न अस्त्रैर्न शस्त्रैः अनिलेन भह्निना छेत्तुं न शक्यो न च कर्मकोटिभिः विवेकविज्ञानमहासिना विना धातुप्रसादेन शितेन मञ्जुना. He is making a very, very important point here. न अस्त्रैः न शस्त्रैः अनिलेन वह्निना छेत्तुं न शक्यो न च कर्मकोटिभिः विवेकविज्ञानमहासिना विना धातुप्रसादेन शितेन मञ्जुना. See, this ajnana, this root cause, this seed of ajnana, responsible for our ignorance, our continuation in this samsara. Due to the ignorance, so this ignorance, this moola ajnana, this moola avidya, this moola vidya, this primordial ignorance, it cannot be cut by shastra, astra, or it cannot be cut by shastra, astra, shastra. Na astraihi, na shastraihi. Astra means the powerful missiles. Shastra means the powerful weapons. So, by any amount of warfare material, you cannot cut this ajnana. Na anilena, na vahnina. Neither by wind you can blow it away, this ajnana, nor by the fire, vahni, agni, nor by the fire you can burn this ajnana, this ignorance, this primordial ignorance. What is the ignorance? I am the body. Concept. I am this body. ನಾನು ಶರೀರ ಅನ್ನೋ ಈ ಅಭಿಮಾನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇ ಮೂಲ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶರೀರ ಅನ್ನೋ ಅಭಿಮಾನವೇ ಮೂಲ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ಅಸ್ತ್ರಶಸ್ತ್ರಗಳಿಂದ, ಗಾಳಿಯಿಂದ, ಬೆಂಕಿಯಿಂದ ಇದನ್ನ ತುಂಡರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಕಟ್. ಛೇತ್ತುಂ ನ ಶಕ್ಯೋ ನ ಚ ಕರ್ಮ ಕೋಟಿಭಿಃ. ಈವನ್ ಬೈ any number of your deeds, karmas, actions, in any number of generations of future births, in thousands of births, if you do karmas, if you do all the actions, even your own actions and karma cannot cut this bondage of ajnana. Means your own karmas will not directly lead you to aparoksha jnana, realization. Ajnana is so powerful. This can be cut. This ajnana, it can be destroyed. ಈ ಅಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಕತ್ತರಿಸೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vina Dhatu Prasadena Shitena Manjuna. Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Shitena Manjuna Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vina. Vina means without. Vina means without. Shitena Manjuna Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vina. Without the strong, beautiful, highly polished, and highly sharp, completely owned, a sword called Viveka Jnana, a sword called discrimination, a sword called identifying capacity of the intellect, the reasoning capacity of the intellect to understand what is Atma, what is Anatma. So this discriminatory power is Viveka Vijnana Mahasina. It is like a sword. Shitena Manjuna. It's so beautiful. Manjuna, Manohara. Shitena, Bhala Tikshanavada, Khadga. Asina, Khadga. Viveka embo Khadgadinta Katrasabhudu. Ajnanavan. So this by this sword you can cut the root of the Ajnana. And without that it cannot happen. And Vina Dhatu Prasadena. That is a key word in the shloka. Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vina Dhatu Prasadena Shitena Manjuna. And Acharya says, not only by the sword of Viveka, Vijnana, the discriminative power of your intellect, understanding power of the intellect, here, elsewhere in the Bhashyas, Dhatu Prasadena is the most important Vedantic concept. With all our earnest spiritual sadhana, our tapas, our meditation, our earnestness to reach the goal, ultimately the Guru's Anugraha is required. The Brahmanishta Guru's Anugraha, the Atmajnana Sampanna Guru's Anugraha, the Sadguru's Anugraha is required. Here, the Sadguru means the indwelling Paramatma itself. The Sadguru means the indwelling Atma itself. Sadguru means the indwelling the self itself. The same Sadguru appears in front in the form of in the physical shape as the Bhashya Guru. That is the real Sadguru, Mahatman, or the saint or the sage with whom we get associated by our Purva Janma Punya Sukruta Phala. So the Sadguru appears in the human form and teaches you, takes you, and guides you to reach the goal of realization. That is Dhatu Prasade. So ultimately, we reach the goal. We understand what is false, what is real. So that final emancipation, understanding reality, appears by Dhatu Prasadena, by the grace or anugraha of the Guru, Sadguru, or the God. All are same words, same thing. They mean the same thing. See, this point in so many ways elsewhere Acharya has explained. The same point is coming into the mind. It is there in one of the famous shlokas in Jnana Sankalani Tantra, a book. Most of you might not have heard, even you might not see the book. Jnana Sankalani Sankalani Tantra. In that book, Jnana Sankalani Tantra, there is a famous shloka quoted by Lord Sadashiva himself to Jagannatha Parvati. There, Lord Sadashiva himself tells Jagannatha Parvati about the importance of Sadguru, about this word, Dhatu Prasadena, how it happens. There he says, Lord Mahadeva says to Parvati, Ajanma kalpa koti yajna dana tapakriyaha. Ajanma kalpa koti yajna dana tapakriyaha. Ta sarva safala devi kevalam guru santoshataha matrataha. Ta sarva safalam devi kevalam guru santoshataha matrataha. That is the shloka. It is quoted by Lord himself to Jagadjanani Parvati, Jagadamba Parvati. The meaning of the shloka is very clear. All that a man, a pious man, a sattvic man, by his virtuous deeds and karmas like yajna, yaga, tapaha, dana, japa, meditation, austerity, charity, doing all good things, performing homa and havana for thousands of births, ultimately, he will end up after such a long duration of the penance, he may end up to be recipient of the grace of the God. The same result is obtained by simply when the Sadguru looks at you, he glances at you with the divine love and compassion and mercy filled in the eyesight. And through the eyesight, when he looks at you, he blesses you. In a flash, you will receive everything. What cannot be received otherwise? For that, you have to do long penance for thousands and thousands and thousands of births. So that is Dhatu Prasad. By the simple glance of anugraha at an appropriate time, the Guru will bestow everything to you. What is to be achieved can be achieved in the matter of a second. It happens within your own inner psyche. You cannot tell others what has happened, how the transformation has occurred. It's all by Guru's grace. That is why Sadguru and God are one and the same. There is no difference between the Sadguru and the God. The God residing inside, the indwelling Atma, or God, one and the same. The indwelling Atma and Guru, one and the same. Ishvara and Guru, one and the same. All the secrets will just, they uncover in a flash. When the jnana, as Mahatmas say, jnana will not happen step by step, step by step. 5% jnana came today. Another 5% jnana appeared after 1 week during your sadhana. Another 5% jnana appeared after 6 months during the sadhana. Not like that. When the jnana dawns in, it dawns like a flash, without any delay. In a single moment, in a fraction of a second, it happens. This is what all Mahatmas say. They have watched for it. Acharya also says the same. Dhatu Prasadena. That is the meaning of the word. Then he continues. Shruti Pramanaika Mate Swadharma Nishtha Tayai Vatma Vishuddhirasya Vishuddha Buddhehe Paramatma Vedanam Tena Iva Samsara Samolanashanaha. Shruti Pramanaika Mate Swadharma निष्ठा तयैवात्म विशुद्धि सत्य विशुद्धिरस्यः विशुद्ध बुद्धेः परमात्म वेदनम तेनैव संसार समूलनाशः विशुद्ध बुद्धेः परमात्म वेदनम. Key words in the shloka. ಸತ್ಕರ್ಮಗಳಿಂದ ಸಚ್ಚಾರಿತ್ರದಿಂದ ಈ ವೇದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಉಕ್ತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಚಿತ್ತಶುದ್ಧಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಚಿತ್ತಶುದ್ಧಿ, ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಶುದ್ಧವಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅದು ಮುಂದೆ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಾದಾಗ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಜ್ವಲಿಸಿದಾಗ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವೇದನಂ, ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ದರ್ಶನ ತಾನಾಗಿಯೇ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಸಂಸಾರ ಸಮೂಲವಾಗಿ ನಾಶವಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಂದು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಇಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಹಿಂಟ್ ಹೌ ದಿಸ್ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ is cut, how this bondage of samsara is cut, how this bondage of samsara is destroyed, how this again and again being reborn can be avoided totally. In other words, what happens when the jnana is attained? What happens when the realization occurs? Samagra samsara samoola nashaha. Your total bondage is cut. You are not reborn at all. You become one with the Paramatma. You become one means you merge with Paramatma. These are the words we have to use. There is nothing really like merging. Merging in Vedantic terms, if you go deeper, there is no merging here. Because you are that only. When you are that only, there is no difference. There is no Dvaita. So there is reality, there is no merging. Remember the earlier example given by Acharya? The space in the pot and the space outside. Space in the pot, mathakasha, ghatakasha, sorry. Outside space, mathakasha. When the pot is broken, what happens? What happens? The space in the pot, you can't identify. It is merged, we say. Only for saying purpose, we say it is merged. Can you spot? You can't spot it. It is one with the Akasha. So we use the word merge. Actually, there is nothing like merging. You are that only. You become Ananta. You become the whole Brahmanda. You become the universe yourself. You become the universe yourself. That is the point here, Acharya. Shruti pramana ekamate swadharma nishta tayevatma buddhi vishuddha asyaha. Vishuddha buddhehe paramatma vedanam. Only by Vishuddha buddhi, Vishuddha sattva, purest of the pure mind, when the mind becomes purer and purer, due to all our karmas done according to scriptures, according to shastras. When we do all our actions as they are directed, sat karmas, not dushkarma, not the prohibited actions. When we do what is allowed, what happens? As per the holy scriptures, when you are doing all the karmas, your mind becomes purer and purer. Chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi. All the karmas will lead to the effulgence of purer and purer sattva. The sattva guna, which is mixed with rajo and tamas guna, they are, rajas and tamas are being removed. They are being removed so that only pure sattva will remain in the mind. So the mind becomes totally pure. That is the Vishuddha sattva. Parishuddha sattva manas. Parishuddha sattva manasthiti. So that is called chitta shuddhi. So when it happens, at one appropriate time, Acharya says, Vishuddha buddhehe paramatma vedanam. At one particular time, in one particular birth, when the mind is so pure, totally surrendered at the feet of the Guru or God. Totally surrendered yourself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Whether you have surrendered to the physical Guru, considering him as God incarnate himself, or whether you are having Ananya Bhakti, total Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti with the Lord Himself, whatever the way, ultimately, in such a condition of purity of the mind, such a Vishuddha Buddhe Paramatma Vedanam, God is visible, Paramatma Vedanam. Then you will realize the God, you will realize the self, you will realize your Atma Swarupa, you will realize your own Swarupa. Tattvamasi, you are that only, ultimately. That comes in here. So, realization of Paramatma is possible only when the mind is totally purified. It is a devoid of tamoguna, devoid of rajoguna, whatever little bit it is there. Vasanakshaya. When the desires are lost, expectations are lost, when your tamoguna is lost, rajoguna is lost, what remains? Perfect balance of sattva-guna. Your mind is really pure. God will see that condition because He is there inside only residing. Then He will reveal Himself. The Atma will reveal itself. Then he continues, Acharya. Why this is not possible? It is so simple, but so difficult. Even if Mahatmans say that, look, you are actually, you must know your reality. In reality, your Atma Swarupa. So don't grieve, don't suffer in the mind. Develop equanimous mode of the mind. Remove the passions, remove your lust, remove your raga, remove your dvesha, remove your dambha, remove your ego, ahankara. It's so easy. Then whatever remains, you are the pure Atma Swarupa. All Mahatmans say, Upanishads say. But still, it is not possible for us to understand. Acharya tells that reason in the next sloka. Why? Why it is not possible for us to understand this point? It is so simple, but so difficult. Humanly impossible. We say we have understood, but until direct experience, until you experience, it is as good as saying, we know that God is there. God can appear in the form of Krishna. God can appear in the form of Rama. God can appear in the form of Devi. God can appear in the form of Anjaneya Murti, Anjaneya Swami. All that, yes, we see. But until you see in front of your own eyes means when you experience directly yourself, presence of Rama in front of you, presence of Lord Krishna in front of you, presence of Raja Rajeshwari, Mahashakti, Mahakali, Chamundi in front of you, Anjaneya in front of you, you will never say that you have seen that. So saying is one thing, experiencing is different. So in the next sloka, Acharya takes up that point. कोशै अन्नमयाद्यैः पञ्चभिरात्मन संवृतो भाति निजशक्तिसमुत्पन्नैः शैवालपटलैः इव अम्बुवापिस्थम्. Beautiful example he takes and explains. कोशैः अन्नमयाद्यैः पञ्चभिरात्मान संवृतो भाति निजशक्तिसमुत्पन्नैः शैवालपटलैः इव अम्बुवापिस्थम्. ಶೈವಾಲಪಟಲೈಹಿ ಇವ ಅಂಬು ವಾಪಿಸ್ಥಂ. ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಕೊಳ ಕಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಪಾಚಿ ಬೆಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಕೊಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಗ್ಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಪಾಚಿ ಕಾಣತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಹಸಿರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಚಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ನೀರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಇಸ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಲೇಕ್ or a small pond amidst the greeneries, unattended by human beings, undisturbed, let us say, for example, a small pond. For hundreds of years it is there, and when you go near, you can't see the water there because of the total greenery. the forest area, the water level of the pond is completely covered by the bog moss, water hyacinth, water algal material, green scum as you. When the water is full of the algal material, water hyacinth or bog moss, completely covered, you see only a green patch on the surface. You don't see the water, but the water is inside. Clear water is inside. But it is not visible because it is covered by moss, covered by algal material. Green scum as we call. Same example. So, just like the water is not visible there, similarly, our Atma Swarupa is invisible to us because it is covered by the 5 koshas, the 5 sheets, one after another. See, earlier he used the word explained what is gross body, physical body. Then he explained what is the subtle body and causal body. So the physical body and the subtle body, stula sharira mattu linga sharira or sukshma sharira. Now that being explained as per Vedanta by different terms like kosha, sheets. Acharya says there are 5 sheets covering our own Atman. Starting from our body outside, which is visible, as you go inside, there are number of sheets, coverings, one after another. There are 5 coverings covering the Atma, self-radiating Atma or Paramatma, Ishvara. Because of the 5 coverings, one after another, the Atma is not visible to us. So that covering is Ajnana. That is due to Ajnana, causal body, Karana Sharira. And we have to remove the covering one by one means we have to understand, go deeper. Then Atma becomes itself revealed. That is the point. There are 5 coverings. Annamaya Dhyayi he starts. Later he explains in detail all these things. What is Annamaya Kosha? What is Pranamaya Kosha? What is Manomaya Kosha? What is Vijnanamaya Kosha? And finally, what is Anandamaya Kosha? All these sheets, one after another. He goes on, he will explain in detail. All these are anatma. They are all false. They are not real atmas. They are all unreal. Annamaya Kosha refers to stula sharira, body, physical body. In short, Pranamaya Kosha refers to the 5 pancha pranas traversing in the body, important for all the actions. They are the energy suppliers. Manomaya Kosha refers to your mind, subtle body, mind. Mind also includes chitta here. The powerful part of the antakarana, mind, also includes chitta. Then Vijnanamaya Kosha refers to buddhi, part of antakarana. Buddhi, Nishayatmaka buddhi, nearer to Atma. The buddhi will decide what is correct, what is not correct. So that is part of antakarana. That is Vijnanamaya Kosha. Finally, Anandamaya Kosha surrounds the Atma, finally. That feeling of happiness, feeling of pleasure in our life. See, when you sleep every day, when you get up, you say, I slept beautifully. What is that beautifully I slept concept? Every one of us, we know it. I had a wonderful sleep. No disturbance. There was no feeling, no emotions, no father, no mother, no wife, no children, no bank balance, no meeting, no tension, no any problem, physical problem. I slept beautifully. That is Ananda. Every day we are experiencing that Ananda in a deep sleep. Every one of you know that. You have experienced. You can't explain. I have experienced. I can't explain. But all of us we know. So that is Ananda. This Atma is beyond that. Beyond Anandamaya Kosha. So that Acharya will take up later one by one in detail. So by the grace of Sadguru, his Sankalpa, today's this course being closed today with a short Rama Bhajan. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama 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 Hari Om.